Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first press conference of President von der Leyen, dedicated to the readout of the first meeting of the College of Commissioners. President, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and a very warm welcome from my side, too. Yes, I want to report from the very first college meeting, which was, for the very first time, a paperless college meeting. It was completely digital. So it's a first important step towards a digital organization. I know that as a whole, we have still very much to do, but having a paperless college is an important first step. I want to report on what we've decided on today in the college, the working methods. And then we had reports on COP25 in Madrid. The HRVP reported briefly from NATO. The Commissioner Lenarčič about Albania, where he's going to travel to today, to be there tomorrow. And Vice President Jourova and Commissioner Reinders reported from Malta. So first of all, let's have a look at the working methods we have been deciding on today. The Commission sees itself as one team. Yes, we do come from very different backgrounds and different countries. We have different political colors, but we work as one college for one union, and this is our European Union. We have all our say in the college. We decide together, and it is important that when we have taken a decision, we also thereby take ownership, all of us, on this subject as it has been decided in the college. I emphasize this because we always say that Europe is strong when it is united and when it acts as one, so the unity has to start here at the core of the European institutions in the college. We have organized the work of the Commission in such that if you look at my 6 priorities and the guidelines, they are of course all interconnected. For example, climate and digital have a strong interconnection for an economic growth strategy, but we organized it as such that an executive vice president or a vice president is responsible for a cluster with different commissioners. We call them commissioners group, and they are chaired by the respective vice president or executive vice president or HRVP. These commissioners groups will ensure coordination and coherence across the Commission, but the decisions, of course, are being taken in the college. We have been taken a decision on the Geopolitical Commission. Of course, the HRVP will support me in coordinating the external dimension of all commissioners' work. Our external action will be systematically discussed and decided on by the college. That was the reason, for example, that today we had the NATO report. We will have every Wednesday in college now a report on external action. And we have created a new preparatory body, the so-called EXCO, External Coordination, that brings together the cabinets of all commissioners to bridge mainly the action that is external and internal, because both have a strong influence on the Commission's work. A few more topics on the composition of our cabinets. As you know, I've asked to include at least 50% women in all our cabinets at administrative level. We've reached that goal for the very first time. This is a little revolution. I'm proud of that. At the same time, it should be normal. It should not be an issue. And we've asked to bring as many nationalities as possible to the respective cabinets. I'm proud to say that we have in my cabinet 16 different nationalities, and I've encouraged my colleagues to raise the numbers of nationalities in their teams too. Last but not least, an information on the think tank. On the current European Political Strategy Center, we will build a new structure. It is structured by the 6 headlines of the political guidelines, or represented by the VPs. I want to keep the function of an internal think tank. At the same time, I want to adapt it to a new geopolitical reality and to our new priorities. We'll call it IDEA. The acronym, as always, it's an acronym for Inspire, Debate, Engage, and Accelerate Action. Just a short report on the COP25 in Madrid. First of all, I want to commend Spain for an outstanding work in putting up within 3 weeks this huge conference. This was impressive. I think it was very good that I was there on my very first working day on Monday to contribute to making the European Green Deal a reference for climate action. I announced that we will adopt the European Green Deal in the communication, kind of a roadmap, next week on December 11th, and presented a few short ideas within the 3 minutes we all did have for our contributions. The first one is that I'm convinced only what gets measured gets done. And therefore, we announced at the COP25 that in 2020, we will have the first ever climate law in place so that our road towards climate neutrality in 2050 will be irreversible. The second point is investment. Investment will be crucial to be successful with the European Green Deal. For that, we will present the Sustainable Europe Investment Plan to mobilize investment, and, as you know, the Just Transition Fund to leave no one behind. We made very clear that we want to be ambitious in the negotiations in the COP25. I think the European Green Deal could be seen as a real contribution to something like a global Green Deal. It was good to see that all the European leaders, President Sassoli was there and President Michel was there too, are more or less increasingly aligning on the European Green Deal. So it's going in the right direction what our continent is concerned, but of course the COP25 is a vast international one. Impressive is that we have the shared view that Europe can be and must be a front runner in this topic. But obviously, they are also concerned how we're going to finance that, mainly the transition. And it is true that we do not all start from the same point. And that is why we put forward the Just Transition Fund. I want to inform you that we are working towards an aspirational target of mobilizing under the Just Transition mechanism, together with the EIB group, 100 billion euros of investments during the period of the next MFF. In order to reach that target, we're building a mechanism that draws on sources of funding from the EU budget, from the European Union, but also co-founded by the member states, as well as the EIB group, to leverage the necessary public and private means. At the same time, and I think this is important too when we're talking about costs of the European Green Deal, at the same time, we should always keep in mind what the cost of non-action would be. And there are costs already. So I asked the Commissioner Šefčovič of Foresight to present us next week the known costs already for the European Union of climate change, so that we have an idea what the costs of non-action would be in the future, and that we know or all are aligned in the being convinced that acting on the Green Deal is a good investment and the right investment for a better future in a healthy planet. I'm convinced that this is, yes, the European Green Deal fighting climate change. It is not only necessary, it is a huge opportunity for the European Union. We are at the moment being the front runner. If we do it right, if we invest in research and innovation, in green technologies, sustainable solutions, and new businesses, we will be able to demonstrate as a trendsetter that this can be for the European Union a new growth strategy. And at the same time, if we make the transition, we're able to give people confidence, we are able to give the economy confidence and hope that this is moving in the right direction. Change of topic, Albania. The European Union, and I had a phone call with Prime Minister Edi Rama on Sunday, stands in full solidarity with Albania with actions, not only with words. We support already on the ground. We are committed to providing more. So far, the Commission has helped to mobilize 3 search and rescue teams of more than 200 staff from Italy, Greece, and Romania. We have dispatched tents, beds, blankets, sleeping bags, generators, and hygiene items for emergency needs via Belgium, Romania, Austria, and Slovakia. Commissioner Lenarčič will travel today to Albania. He is there mainly to provide acute assessment for the state the buildings are in that are affected, and of course to have a primary assessment on what kind of help is needed for reconstruction. As a very first step, we will allocate from the Neighborhood Fund 15 million immediately to support the Albanian people. And we've decided in college that we will organize a donors conference. I will call today Edi Rama again to inform him about these facts. Last topic in the college meeting was Malta. I am concerned by the recent developments in Malta, and we are following the situation very closely. To be very clear on that, we harshly condemn the murder of the journalist Daphne. Her murder was an attack on free media. Media freedom is the foundation of our free and democratic society. Journalists must feel safe to work in Europe. If not, democracy as we know it will be under threat. I will not comment on ongoing national investigations. However, what I will say is that I expect there to be a thorough and independent investigation free from any political interference. Europol is in Malta. It is providing support to the Maltese authorities. It is crucial that all those responsible are brought to justice as soon as possible. The Commission is also in contact with the Maltese authorities on the reform of the judicial system, and we will continue to work with the authorities to accelerate these reforms. This is it for the moment.
Thank you, Mrs. President. Now, the President will now take your questions, focusing first on the issues discussed in the college as she presented them. Yes, Die Welt.